Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a first perspective on things and how we see them. Today, we got another interesting episode for you guys, but before we get into it, make sure you go ahead and hit the subscribe button because we're trying to get to 50,000 subscribers by the end of this year. So we'd really appreciate it if you supported us and help us reach that goal. Anyway, let me get into this topic here. So we all know that Shannon Sharpe is one of the biggest LeBron James supporters in media, right? He has had numerous spirited debates with Skip Bayless on TV about the greatness of LeBron James. And many occasions he's come to the defense of him. And a lot of times it seems like in the past he used to get pretty upset. To the point I was like, man, this dude is really taking a lot of these things about LeBron James pretty personally. But going into this season, he was pretty high on the Lakers, irrespective of the fact that they had acquired Russell Westbrook. Shannon Sharpe believed that the Lakers will still be able to come out of the Western Conference, I believe, because of the greatness of LeBron. I think Shannon Sharpe believes that, and there's also some historical proof for this, that LeBron has a history of, taking a different type of players, finding a way to, extract success from them and going out there and winning, right? He has a history of just playing with a bunch of different type of players and winning with them. So I think Shannon Sharpe was kind of looking at that historical data and saying, listen, even though we have Russell Westbrook and we've added so many new faces like Carmelo Anthony, Trevor Ariza, and some other I think DeAndre Jordan and some other pieces, I think he still felt confident. I think he felt confident that LeBron would be able to figure it out. But as the season has progressed, on more than one occasion, he has publicly expressed his frustrations with this team. He has done it on many occasions. At one point, it was, a lot of his frustration was sort of aimed at Russell Westbrook. And now the new thing is that he seems to be very frustrated with the Lakers' defense as a team. And yesterday, I was listening to Shannon Sharpe, and dare I say, it seemed as if he had finally had enough of a lot of LeBron James' excuses and a lot of the things that he was saying. So before we go too far, I want you guys to take a listen to the exchange that Shannon Sharpe had with Skip Bayless on the show, and then we're going to come back and give you guys our thoughts. Take a listen to that here.
How much did LeBron's false positive test have to do with their loss on Friday, the drama surrounding it?
Zero. It had absolutely nothing to do with it.
Really? Zero?
No, it had nothing. I mean, I understand his level of frustration. He's saying that's not the what I had to go through is not what normally happens. He says you get a positive test. He says that you don't normally go straight to quarantine. You get an opportunity to retest. He said, we didn't retest. I had to go straight to quarantine, had to go to isolation. My kids were in isolation, and it was very frustrating for me. And, obviously, so I think that would, but that had nothing to do with it. So if that had something, if him missing a game or him having the COVID issues, what happened to those other 10 losses? When there was no issues, there was no positive, there was no false positive. So them losing this game on Friday had nothing to do with LeBron James's false positive test. He did not play well. He did not fend the basketball. You look at what the Clippers shot. The Clippers shot 51% and 46% from the three. They play the Kings the next night and shoot 38% from the three, 38% from the field, 66% from the free throw line when they shot 87% against the Lakers.
Yep.
You see the difference?
Do I?
One team defended a little bit, the other team didn't defend at all. You look at the fourth quarter, down the stretch, they got every shot they wanted, how they wanted. Now, the Marcus Smart senior shot, that was a lucky shot.
Lucky shot.
Tip your hat.
The backboard shot.
Backboard shot. But look at Luke Kennard at the free throw line. Boot, bucket. Luke Kennard, fake like he's going to run through, goes to the three-point line, wide open. You're not defending the basketball. And when you do not defend, and when you do, Skip, all they do is make the free throws also. There are a lot of things that's going on with the Lakers. Had they made their free throws, had they shot 80% and not 60%, they win the game. But you fall behind, you miss your free throws. So I don't believe LeBron James' false positive had anything, the COVID test had anything to do with this loss. What had everything to do with this loss? LeBron didn't play well. The Lakers didn't play well. He didn't defend. They didn't defend. He didn't shoot particularly well from the free throw line. They didn't shoot well from the free throw line as a team. That's why they lost. That's why they'll continue to lose until they start playing better defense. And until they start making their free throws, they're going to be in this situation. Win 2 games, lose a game or 2. Win a game, lose a game. That's what they are, Skip. They're not a good basketball team currently.
I would like to point out very publicly how proud I am of my man, Shannon Sharpe, across from me, because he has turned completely on his man, LeBron James. He will no longer give him any passes.
I never did.
He will no longer defend him on any count, because LeBron made it extremely clear after the game that the NBA did that to him. He said after the game, "I'm just confused, frustrated, and angry." He said, "Today was the first time I've been able to catch a basketball since Sunday." So he couldn't touch anything because
Why?
he was in protocol, right?
Okay, you isolate. You got a basketball in your backyard.
I assume you could. I don't know why,
Yeah.
unless there's something written into the bylaws that you can't even touch a basketball. I don't know why, but that's what he said. Again, Shannon Sharpe calling LeBron James on some phony baloney that he's trying to sell to the blind witnesses out there.
Now, what you won't see in the clip, because remember, we don't own the rights to that clip, we can play the audio, you won't see just how visually dismissive Shannon Sharpe seemed at times, especially when Skip Bayless was, starting to, say his own points and kind of responding to what Shannon Sharpe was saying, about the part about, does it say somewhere in the collective bargaining agreement that, or, an agreement or whatever it is, that you can't play basketball while you're in quarantine, maybe at home? And Shannon Sharpe, for the very first time, seemed like he was kind of over LeBron. Now, maybe I'm reading a little bit into this, but usually what happens with him is that he would virtually try to defend pretty much any and every single thing that LeBron James says or does. Usually that's what happens. But for the very first time yesterday, it seemed as if he was just like, listen, man, I'm tired of the excuses. Like, I'm just kind of over it. Now, here's what's interesting about this. If you think back, I believe maybe it was a week ago when the Los Angeles Lakers, I forgot the team that they were playing against, and LeBron had some fans removed from the game because they said some very, very, very inflammatory things to him, and I heard allegedly some of the things that they said. Shannon Sharpe came on TV, and he basically insinuated, in no uncertain terms, that he had a conversation with LeBron on the phone, because he was basically saying, I know what they said. And Skip Bayless said to him, how do you know? What do you mean you know what they said? He's like, trust me, I know. And Skip Bayless was like, what do you mean? And basically Shannon Sharpe implied that he spoke directly to LeBron James, right? And this happened probably a week or so ago. So him and LeBron James seem to be in communication off air, right? It seems as if these two people have each other's phone numbers, and they talk, off air. So for me, it was a bit surprising, given the fact of how hard he defended him that day, to come out yesterday and basically said, listen, man, nobody's trying to hear any of these excuses, right? If you saw him on TV when he was talking to Skip Bayless, he just didn't look like the same old Shannon Sharpe, and I was pretty surprised by it, right? I was pretty surprised, because usually he would try to defend him. I don't know, maybe if he woke up on the wrong side of the bed that day, whatever it is. But this is the observation that I made. Now, some people may watch this video and say, "Hey, man, you're reading into too many things. What are you blah, 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 blah." There are many times we've read into things, and in those things that we read into ended up coming to fruition, right? I spoke about the Brooklyn Nets early this season. I said that I thought they were going to have some issues going into the season before the season even started. Boom, 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 boom. There you have your evidence. So I'm not reading into things. I'm paying close attention, and I'm trying to, trying to understand what's really going on in the ground, given the fact that I'm not working. I don't have any personal connections with people in the industry, so I have to read into things. I have to. So anyway, what I want to know from you guys is, what impression did you get from what some of the things that Shannon Sharpe was saying? Do you think that he's beginning to jump ship, or do you think that was just a momentary sort of slip up that he had? And finally, the reason I'm asking, do you think he's beginning to jump ship, is because within the next year or two, LeBron will retire, and do you think that Shannon Sharpe will still be trumpeting for him, or do you think he'll move on to somebody else to support somebody else? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comments section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro, wishing you guys an amazing day. Catch you guys on the next episode.